green.
Okay, good evening and welcome to this interim full council meeting. So we've got everybody public session, have we? No, okay, so on the agenda, apologies for absence.
Councillor Shade, apologies for releasing on the floor.
Do we approve councillors Shade's Robin?
Yeah, approve.
Okay, so we'll do pleasure and seconding.
Second.
Jane seconding. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Councillor Singleton's apologies for releasing number 6.
Do we approve Councillor Singleton's reason number 6? We have Fraser, Lucy, seconder Lisa. All those in favour? And that's unanimous. Okay, declarations of interest, receiving declaration of personal purchases of interest, Robin.
Just to say to the public record that the application on the, I think I will not pay part in because I'm chair of Buckingham Corporate Charitable Trust, and the application involves a ransom strip, which I am in negotiations over, so it'd be inappropriate and wrong for me to take part in the application. I will probably leave the room when you discuss it, because it's mentioned veterinary backing, because I've got nothing to say on the next item.
Okay, well, that will be.
Should I declare an interest for the same reason as I'm on it?
I'm the only one who's doing paperwork,
Okay.
so my interests are more prejudicial.
John?
Well, I was going to say the same as Robin. I'm also a trustee as well.
Yeah,
So I think I'll leave the room too.
well, I don't think that we would need to in that respect, because the discussion over what to do with the ransom strip has already been agreed by the charitable trust. So this is now the access arrangements at the planning stage on it, which we as trustees, apart from the chair, are not taking part in. I think that's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just me.
Okay.
Okay. So we move on to item 3 then, which is the Land of Buckingham Ring Road East in Buckingham, which is outlined application for up to 90 residential units, the Heritage Visitor Centre of up to 225 square metres, with all associated parking services, utilities, draining, landscaping in the space. Catherine, do you have anything to
I don't think there's anything I need to add to
no, okay, so
just the access.
yeah, this is just the access. Do any members have any comments to make? So the only Roger.
Yes, the position of the access. I'm wondering whether it might be better to put the access directly opposite Burley Piece and form it into a signal for one junction, because you've got right near just before it's shown on there. There's sort of key lip signs, so they'll have to be moved presumably, and unless there's a vast amount of road widening, which isn't shown on here, to get into that access, and it's not cause a problem.
You mean the northern access to Burley Piece?
Yes.
Rather than the southern one
Yeah,
by the store?
This is just below that,
Yeah,
where that access is. So I would suggest that the access should be positioned elsewhere. Purely with traffic flow and helping pedestrians cross as well
okay.
at that junction.
So I'm of the understanding that as far as traffic management, etc., roads is concerned, they really don't like crossroads. That's because they're like huge amounts of accidents at crossroads, because people don't necessarily know who's supposed to be giving way to who. So I should imagine that's been staggered away for that reason. Catherine, are you able to give us any?
On highways and
Yeah. Yeah, Lucy?
Surely wouldn't having a light traffic light controlled crossroads negate the risk of people not knowing when they're meant to be given way and stuff?
Lisa?
Thank you. The entrance, isn't that the existing one that's already there? Okay, so not just repurposing it. Okay, cool. Cool.
Okay, so my concern on it is the position of the crossing. Because it isn't actually by where any of the footpaths actually come out, and it's not, it seems to be like midway between the southern Burnley piece and the roundabout. So it's just away from the proposed entrance. And if most people that are coming out of there to cross the road on foot are wanting to go to school in the park, I would suggest that it's possibly in the wrong place in that case. Roger?
Hence my suggestion of signal crossroads,
Yeah.
so people could cross easily. Also, I think we should be suggesting that they put footpaths down either side.
Yeah.
Because behind that was and around the side, there's no footpath, so you can only go halfway on. So I think that they should go with footpath. Then possibly the western side of the road at least, so that if you cross over at that junction, then you can go right, left, or down Burley Place.
Thank you. I think I read somewhere that they were going to be putting a footpath from the Bourton Meadow end up the side. I don't know if it's out. Sorry.
yes, they are, they're putting a footpath, it's a foot cycle path. So
Yeah.
it's a wide one, all the way up the western verge. There's nothing much on the eastern.
Yeah.
verge.
Yeah, I thought I'd read it.
And
Thank
then
you.
there's some ghost islands empty in the middle of the road, so that you can right turn.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Catherine. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. Any comments? Do you all understand that like the ghost islands is hatchings in the middle of the road, so it isn't actually a physical structure, and that's supposed to make it safer for the road. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
So fast road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the ghost islands don't sound. Okay, the ghost islands, I don't think they're going to help with safety at all.
Yeah.
In fact, wherever we position this, I fear it's just going to create gridlock, and it's a pretty dangerous road to be crossing.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the solution is, but whichever end they decide to put an entrance in on an already very busy road with a school on it, not far away, where there's complete chaos at least twice a day.
Yeah.
I can't offer any solutions.
It's just another point about the inappropriateness of having the pedestrian crossing where it is, because if you think when people are turning right out of Burley Piece, they're normally accelerating quite quickly and in a hurry to get out before another car comes or there's still a gap, which means they may not be paying as much attention as they should, and they may kind of in a rush to get out, and then if they see someone, it could quite easily be too late. Also, lighting and things around that area, I would hope that would be put in as part of footpath and crossing and stuff, because otherwise, again, that's just accidents waiting to happen.
So I think from what Councillor
Neil was saying, you were talking about having a traffic light, a proper junction in there, which might be a way of calming things down on that road. I must admit, I've been looking at this and I've got no particular ideas. It's I know from driving up it, it's a bit of a racetrack, even when you're trying to do 40 miles an hour. Heaven knows with all these extra houses whether that will go down a bit, but I would have thought something that's very visible, very definite, not a ghost, not a, you know, I mean, there's a thought maybe about you could have a, well, you can't turn right out of there, you put a little bit of concrete out there, but I think something very clear and very visible would be a good idea. But I'm not an expert.
Andy?
I think there were street lighting there many years ago, which Buckingham Council ripped up and took away. I think his chap's name was Martin Shaw. I think we should ask them to reinstate lighting back because of the development that's taking place.
So think in general, it seems that we don't think that the junction's in the right place and we don't think the crossing's in the right place. And I think that's the limit of what we're actually looking at in this, isn't it?
Yeah. And the type of crossing.
Yeah. There's another crossing planned for the Walton Road farm, just a bit further up. It's going to make it.
road.
Well, I mean, as we said the other week, it's not going to be a bypass. It's going to be a trunk road through housing estates. So. Do we have anybody making any suggestions as to whether we are going to support or oppose, or no comments on this? Roger?
I would suggest that we comment aware of our concerns about the road safety aspect.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the comments are that ghost sirens are not safe. 40 mile an hour speed limit on a road which is going to become a separation of housing is probably too high. So it's speed limit review. Street lighting. Positioning of the junction, and whether the crossing being in that place is the right place for people to be accessing Walton Park and the schools from that, as well as going the other way to get to the visitor centre.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Lucy?
Are we allowed to formally suggest having a signal controlled crossroads that Councillor was suggested?
I think so. Do you have anything to comment with it, Howard?
All a bit dated because I was in for it was 2 or 3 years of
Right.
any confident about it. So.
Okay. Martin?
It's always going to be awkward putting a development that side because any junction put on that road, coming off the 422, turning left, you've got a straight run down until you get to the wobbly roundabout. So anything in between the roundabout and the 422, is that still the 422? I have no idea. It changes, does it? It's going to be problematic one way or the other because we've got, as we've all said, the junction from Burley Police in 2 places and the school coming out from the other side. So anything, the other side of that is going to complicate matters one way or another. No doubt about it. You know, you can write all the reports and know all the traffic flows you like, but something's going to happen and it's not going to look pretty and the flow is not going to be great. But my real question is if they are thinking about things like that, are they going to do anything with the roundabout on the tilt, or is that going to be the development in the other fields opposite the Larder Cafe? Because, you know, that's a small roundabout, it causes its own issues, it does slow things down, at least for the next roundabout up, but of course it all backs up over the bridge up to the school
I
area.
believe the plan there, and correct me if I'm wrong, Catherine, please, is that on the north side of that roundabout, so going into Thornton Park, looking at putting that control crossing there as well.
Yeah, see, they've got a 3 metre strip coming around that up to the school that they're going to pave, so you
Yeah.
could come round there. But that's for pedestrians.
Yeah.
I mean, all the lorries and stuff, they do funny things at different angles, they go round because it's on the wonk.
In the roundabout at the school, there is going to be another pedestrian control crossing and 2 bus stops.
There we go, even
One on
more
the other side of the road.
suggestion.
Yes. My problem with a low light pause.
Yeah,
So
okay, Heather.
I'm just wondering if a footbridge might be an option somewhere along there. Ideally one with a slope so you could get a bicycle up and down as well. And then you would only need probably one access because the cars could go up and turn around the roundabout and head to the junction.
I'd be as bold to say 2 footbridges at different points.
I've got a feeling that we can suggest it, but we don't. No. So another thought is, like on the 421, between Tesco and Meadway, there's the
sausage,
sorry,
a sausage island.
Sausage Island apparently, with the crossings going across it.
Yes.
So if you come out of the industrial estate, that junction, you can only turn left.
Yeah.
So whether putting something like that at either opposite where they're planning to go into their or the Burning Peace school entrance,
Yeah.
to stop vehicles from turning right, so they'd have to go straight around and come around.
Yeah, we asked for that years ago.
That's a good point.
As a calming measure, we asked for that years and years ago. Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
that would do it.
yeah,
We should offer, yeah.
yeah.
I think with all these talkings of crossings, really, I mean, we haven't even mentioned because it's not part of tonight's meeting, all the way down, we have to be careful that whatever we suggest then doesn't make the bypass worth using for a lot of people, and they all go through the centre of town, which is equally as dangerous.
Well, this is the
Yeah.
one of the big issues of developing on the other side of the bypass,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's becoming a trunk road through
Yeah.
the developed town. So is Catherine writing all this down to do a?
Yes.
Yeah. So are we looking to?
I was just going for clarity, which would be members' first preference would be the control junction or the sausage?
Alignment.
I would say the sausage because that would work a lot easier.
To have Catherine's comments.
Roger.
The only problem with the sausage is it will narrow the camel's right. So, because that is point one, it's going to get a crossing, so you can. Go from the
Yeah.
look at one by Alden as well, it's different lines. So you probably may not have enough room.
What about a French fry island?
Give me up.
I think we've got the idea, haven't we? I think we
Yeah.
should pass it to the experts to
Okay.
express our concerns.
Just a quick, there is enough land on that verge there to extend it.
There
So
is.
there is to put a sausage and
Yeah.
It's a lot.
there is not a plan there.
Sausage has to be
Huge.
very wide.
isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's a barrier.
It's got to be about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
For pedestrians, because to try and cross that road at any point, it's so.
Yeah.
Quite horrendous.
So to recap on that, then the first preference would be a sausage island, and if that's not feasible, then a four-way traffic.
Opposite of
Is
Northern.
everybody not moves up to the, you might want to take a vote on that.
I'll take a vote on the,
Yeah.
I think it'd be easier.
Where did the bridge come in then? Not at all?
Well, you can ask for bridges, well, but the sausage or the four ways, well, there's going to be one or the other, so which one would be one, want to suggest as the preference?
Sausage.
I've got
All those in favour
More
of the
likely to get
sausage?
sausage.
and it could keep traffic moving.
Yes,
It
exactly.
keep traffic means moving, it could also stop people overtaking.
Yeah.
Erratically. And, from traffic.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we've got. I propose that we go to suggest a sausage.
I'll second that.
I didn't try to say that tonight.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favour of the sausage?
So sausage is the first preference, and if not, the four-way traffic.
Anybody against?
I'm saying.
Okay.
I'll say.
I'm saying, okay. Okay. So
Okay, done.
That's it, yeah.
in terms of responding to the application, I don't think we can object to it as such, because it is in our neighbourhood plan. So that would probably seem churlish to do so, but what do members think? Like,
We're just concerned.
are we, so that's the options, we have to support, object, or no comment?
Yes.
Yeah. Roger.
I think we've got an opportunity to object because we actually
Designed it.
in our
Yeah.
neighbourhood plan, so.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, that's right.
I think support is very key on the. But I mean, we have on many previous occasions had no objections with. comments.
Yeah,
That's the one.
that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. Really.
Yeah.
Martin?
Yeah, I don't see why we can't object to it. We're not objecting to the development, because
No.
in our neighbourhood plan, what we're objecting to is what they're proposing for traffic management and access and egress. So I think we ought to object with approving comments. Supporting comments.
Helpful. Constructive.
Okay, so
Constructive.
Roger, did you propose that we support it?
I propose that we have no objection, subject to what we've asked for.
Subject
Okay,
to,
do we have a second for that? Lucy seconded, so that all those in favour of that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Anybody against? And abstentions. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we will support with those appropriate comments. Okay.
I'll send them over to you anyway.
Yeah, thank you very much, Catherine. Thank you, everybody. That was
or somebody get poor.
It's
Don't we just forget?
Only halfway through each phase.
You don't like those now. After the alert system.
Okay, so we come on to the draft Buckinghamshire local plan, which thank the town plan officer for the huge amount of work that she's done on this. She has massively made our jobs a lot easier.
Yeah.
Would otherwise be. So what I propose that we do, I hope that you've all read through Sheila's briefing notes in this report. So the recommendation is that the town council submits the following comments on the constitutional draft and regulation wanting consultation, allowing officers to remember the additional supporting evidence if necessary for submission. So we had a meeting this afternoon, few of us, which lasted 3.5 hours. We went through quite a lot of detail on it. I hope that we're not going to spend quite as long on it as that now. So what I'm going to suggest we do is we go through the headings that Sheila has supplied, and if there's any comments or changes that any members feel that they want to make to that, we can add them in as we go along, and then when we come to the end, we will vote on the whole lot of changes at the same time. Yeah, otherwise we're going to be okay. Yeah. Sheena, do you want to say anything before we start going through it?
Just really, I'm sure councillors are aware that at regulation 19 now, it's not a question of whether we like the plan or dislike the plan or agree or disagree with it. It's a question of whether it's positively prepared, justified, effective or consistent with national policy. So the sort of large numbers of its paragraph such and such and such at the bottom there is me making that link to say this is why we're not happy with it. I think there's 3 main things in the strategic policies. I've tried to emphasise that they need to clarify the position of neighbourhood plans as part of the development plan and how they're going to interact together. Housing numbers in terms of the minimum buffer of 35 homes that they have to play with, and very importantly, because this is very fundamental, the duty to consult with neighbouring authorities, and there seems to be absolutely no evidence at all that they have talked to Milton Keynes City Council. I've dug through the documentation and there's no record of them having talked to Milton Keynes City Council, and I think that's going to be a major problem for them. Development management policies I have gone into, as you'll see, in a lot of detail, I'm sure you're aware, mainly because I'd like to get our points and our evidence down and in, because we are really now talking to the inspector rather than just the Buckinghamshire Council, because this is probably going to go straight to the inspector now. And I don't want us to find that when it comes to the public hearing, we're being told, oh no, we can't bring this point in now because you didn't raise it during regulation 19. So I think that's the.
Thank you. Were there any points that were raised this afternoon on we'll start off with sustainable development?
Only on in terms of this can be fitted in at various points through. There has been some information from the Canal Society, who are also preparing their own summary, responses, and obviously they have got great expertise in this area. So I am going to sort of put in some of their evidence with councillors' agreement. For instance, something that had escaped me, the water cycle study was premised on around about 65,000 homes. They did not update that to the 91,000 homes that they're not now talking about. So again, there's a gap there in the evidence base that hasn't been filled. So that's something they have also made an interesting recommendation about water efficiency within houses as well. Of that they could be more ambitious with that target than the plan actually is at the moment. So I'd say certainly there's also some points, more detailed points about water infrastructure and the fact that they've not allocated for expansion of water treatment plants, etc.
they've just simply said, oh, it will need to be done, but it's the water companies, I think, but they do have the opportunity to safeguard land, which they haven't taken. So that may well be a point that we could sort of emphasise.
Yep. So anybody have any comments on this first section, Robin?
Just through you, Chair, are we going to be able to raise those points at the appropriate point to reinforce them in the meeting, or are we going to take it? Because I think it should be raised in the meeting rather than take it in red. Not sure how we're, the point that we discussed, which I introduced this afternoon, which I corresponded to the subgroup on, which was around the water capacity treatment and stroke and everything to do with the very points that Sheena made, that they'd failed to meet the numbers they're working on, and the study they did was not the study that was on the 2023 MPPF, where they were expecting 64,000, not 91,000. They're very key things. We need to make sure that they're aware of that, because every pair to that will be absolutely futile and weak, goes through without permissions. I just through you, Chair, I may come in with some points as we drift through.
Okay, anybody else? Heather?
On sustainable development, there is supposed to be a presumption in favour of sustainable development from the NPPF, which it seems to me if you're putting the employment sites a long way away from where people are living, and you're not providing public transport, and there's no funded active cycling, walking policies in place, you're doing the exact opposite. You're then prompting people to drive in cars up and down the county and off to Silverstone, which seems to me totally contrary to the NPPF.
Thank you, Heather. Anybody else? So there is Sheila is emphasising the role of the neighbourhood plans, and that it's inconsistent throughout the documents that neighbourhood plans, if they're referenced in one area, it should be consistently referenced throughout. So there's a lot on that. And yeah, the talking to authorities does not appear to have happened. So SB2 housing strategy then. So Sheila touched on minimal buffer of 35 homes. And further through the documents where we've already seen and discussed our responses to at least two sites which are in the local plan, where they have put in a lot more houses than have been applied for by the contractor. So the buffer is very, very weak in that.
Sheila, to give me an example of what actually the site just been discussed, which they call Gorton Meadow, we have a canal site, they reckon that's 150 homes there, not recognising there's in fact an application in, and as you know from the application is up to 90 homes that the developer is offering. So already you've got 60 homes that have sort of disappeared from the calculation.
Okay, any comments on the housing strategy part of it? Robin?
I think Sheena alluded to the lack of evidence consultation with Milton Keynes Council, and there was little evidence that there'd been any consultation with South Northants because of the Beachampton element of the plan, which is set out on its own in a unwieldy place. The concern with that is that the underspent need to do with services will be adjacent to another principal authority, and I can imagine that they will raise their own concerns. But I think it's only right that we point out that there is no evidence base, as Sheena says, to support that, because that's a big expectation. It's rather like our neighbouring parish felt we were going to fund their precept. We probably wouldn't, would we? So I think there is a real big no there, and in the strategy and sustainability, as Sheena quite rightly said, there's no evidence that they've done it, and I think the words that you know, it's just surprising that they missed it. Really, it seems obvious, especially as those of us who dealt with the Vale of Aylesbury plan first time round. Vale of Aylesbury plan, when went to the inspector, one of the reasons it failed first time round, we won't go into all the other reasons, was lack of working with your lack of cooperation.
Okay, anybody else say right, so move on SP4 economic development. So I think one of the key things that she was picked up here is the fact that when the OCA development was allowed to go through, and also alongside Q, that the inspector said that there was no demand for that sort of employment land. So it does seem a bit
Yeah, I think
strange.
what we're wanting to do is obviously just, I do council would want to support the application of employment land. Sorry, but there's a lack of evidence that would defeat a planning inspector if we got a similar planning inspector as we had with the site Q site, who's basically saying, I see no evidence of need for this land. So I think we've got some more work to do on their evidence base there for it to be successful, which we would hope it would be successful.
Yeah. So, yeah, so Silverstone being put forward as a employment site, which is whatever else, but the only way to get there is through Buckingham.
Yeah.
From Buckinghamshire really, unless you're going to go all the way through around and then get on the A43 somewhere. And I found an aerial shot from 3 years ago, which I sent to Sheila earlier. It would appear that without going quite a long way back from the road, in the Buckinghamshire part of where the industrial area is, it's pretty much full. It looks like they've pretty much used all the land up. So unless they are actually going to go further back, then I think that's probably not going to provide the number of jobs that they're thinking it's going to. It's also no public transport, no active travel route to get there, etc. Is there anything else on that one, Robin?
If this isn't the right time to say 3.8,
3.8 is not quite right.
well, it is affects the economics, because it goes into the study to do with the 421 study. Well, for instance, Anthony sat in the room, and Anthony was involved in that study, which never concluded.
Okay, we'll get to that one as we go through, Robin. Otherwise we'll go all over the place and we'll get left with a report.
Not past week.
You mean 3.18?
Okay, yeah, okay.
3.1.
3.18, sorry.
Sorry, that's me.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to explain.
Yeah.
The corridor, which is key infrastructure to deliver any growth or whatever in Buckingham, the corridor hasn't been plan hasn't really been completed, and there's no evidence of what that corridor is going to be within any documentation that we've seen. So there is a risk with that, and I think she has made some commentary on the study, but I feel that the idea that, you know, you've got the inner ring road, not bypass anymore, and the dualling from Bottle Dump Roundabout. So I think there's a inherent risk in their plan, in the sense that they haven't dealt that, and it goes on to, as Mayor has said, the Silverstone matter. So that's a really big issue which seems raised, because without that functioning, the development can't function, period.
Thank you, Robin. Then SP10, then so the Buckingham Southern Skying Road. So on the indicative maps, it was going from basically through Site Q and along the back, I think probably going through some of those array estates and then coming through the development, I can remember the one that's next to the cemetery, to come out onto the Sidgwick Road roundabout there. That obviously is we're looking at. Well, John.
Yeah, one of the points I raised early on from the meeting that we had online with other parishes was it would appear from the answer I got from the Buckinghamshire officers is that they haven't involved the district valuer in estimating what the section 106 returns are likely to be, and section 273 for the roads are likely to be, because the district valuer is the arbitrator of whether the resources allocated are reasonable or not. And if they've not involved the district valuer, my concern is that their aspirations for where to spend various bits of money on, be it health or roads, as we're talking about here at the moment. We know that roads, especially bridges, are very, very expensive and use up a lot of section 106 allocation. Then I guess my general concern is not just about this section, but elsewhere as well. And I couldn't see it in there anywhere, Sheena, from looking through this afternoon. Any mention of the concern that this hasn't been developed in association with or in consultation with the district valuer. And I think that makes it, by definition, very unsound to have not involved somebody with that significant degree of power over what monies are actually finally allocated under the various sort of planning game regulations. So I'd like to see somewhere mention of that, either in this section or somewhere, that we are concerned about that. And that is a major factor in undermining the soundness of this local plan overall.
Yeah, good point, Nick. Okay. Yeah. Have you got another point, Robin?
It's on that. Thank you, John. One of the things which we can't find any evidence for is the assumption of the infrastructure fund, in a sense, there's an assumption that you need 6 billion pounds or something, and there's a quote that they're £1 billion short, but there's no evidence that we can see in presenting the plan where that figure of shortfall comes. So they should really be putting something in for the inspector to see, because if there is a shortfall in funding, the inspector should be able to examine that. Or will the funding be funded throughout the life of the plan, which is to 2045? So it won't be at the front end of the plan, it may be halfway through the middle, or all the way through. There's nothing there.
Okay. Move on then to SP11 renewable energy. So, anybody's got any comments on what Sheena's put in there? No. So I think that's all right. We didn't add to that, didn't we? This afternoon.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Is there a section for renewable farmland then? Oh, sorry. Oh, was that a joke?
No. There was it wasn't a joke. No. I thought you were quipping. Yeah, there isn't a section.
This is what I mean about these reports. Is I bet, this is what we want. Don't worry about anything else. I'll get annoyed.
So the next one is community facilities. So I think this is quite a big one that needs to be highlighted. In terms of the centre versus the library on Burnley Place.
Yes.
And
Just quickly, it's basically a policy which says that if you are using land where there's community facilities, then you will be expected to provide equivalent or better facilities elsewhere or on site. So if you sort of are, so to give an example, the Burnley Close site, which is the medical centre and also the surgery and also the Red Cross Centre, or the centre. At the moment, that policy would work fine because we're going to have the Lace Hill Medical Centre to replace the surgery. But if they're also going to remove the centre to build on, then they have to give equivalent or better facilities elsewhere to replace those community facilities, because they're very active, they're very engaged. And the question I think that comes with that is, well, if you're going to have to do that, what does that do with the viability of that site? Because if you're costing that and building your houses, then you're also going to have to say, but we're going to have to provide community facilities off-site. So it's one of those ones where they've allocated sites, but then they've not sort of looked at their own policy and sort of said, well, how will this actually impact? So it impacts on the Verney Close site, and can I just stress, we are also correcting them that it's not the library that they're taking, it's the centre. They've got a little bit confused. The map shows it's the centre, but the heading says it's the library, which got me a bit worried to begin with. But once I looked at the map, it's obviously it's the centre, so they're keeping it on that side of the road. It's similar with the Western Garages site, one of the small sites. That's a green space amenity area for the residents there.
there's no big garages.
No. We tried this in site engagement in March and told them that, so they changed it to a greenfield site, but they're still calling it Western Garages. There's a density question there as well, which is very interesting. But basically, again, if that's amenity space, they should be replacing that somewhere else, according to this policy. So that to a certain extent raises the question of the viability of that site. So that's why I've flagged it up, that there seems to be an internal inconsistency with the allocation sites and then how the policies are going to work on the viability of those sites.
Thank you, Sheila. Any more comments on that? SP 13, natural environment, climate resilience. Robin?
Yeah, there's some gaping gaps which Sheena touched on in the assessment and the environment assessment, where you simply, I'm trying to find the right climate reliance plans should take approach to mitigating climate change and the flood risks and water supply. Paragraph 165 of the flood strategy should be informing the strategy and the flood risk assessment. It should manage flood risks, should also source development, should so on, which I've given Gina this stuff, but there's a litany of stuff on the environment that hasn't actually been taken in. In 1.8, they haven't taken in to help to improve local environment and conditions, air sources, water quality, which is, there's nowhere in the plan, and the responses given to members in question was that that will be post-plan, but in a plan which is going to set out the way we're going to travel to 2045, I would contest that there should be policies in there which support drainage and sewage, because at the moment we're relying on Grampian conditions. Surely the whole plan can't rely on Grampian conditions. You need to actually start putting stuff in. And that really brings us on to the whole effect of that, that they haven't actually done it, and they haven't recognised the water cycle studies which are out there, which is to manage water in a better, more effective way, which we can go into length tonight, but there isn't time, about the project which is only cited in it as a word, possible project, about managing future resources, water, sewage from flooding, which is the project which the canal people are working on, and I had a meeting today on that as well.
Okay.
But they're not in there, and I've given Sheena the text as a principle that we should include some comments appropriate around that, because not to will be letting letting everybody down, and they could fail with that.
Thank you. We move on then to SB 14, councillor Hillary design.
Question.
There is a reference to Buckingham design code, mentions the character, but makes no mention. There's policies contained within the neighbourhood plans, which would be the local character of authority areas through the county, provided greater detail as to local character. Sheena, do you want to say anything else on that one?
It's simply, I'd like to see more about how our design code will work with the Buckinghamshire design code and the design policies that are in other neighbourhood plans. There's an assumption apparently that the Buckinghamshire code will just cover everybody. But the our Buckingham design code is part of the development plan, and it would perhaps for clarity for decision makers to know how they anticipate that working. The Buckingham design code provides the local character that they are referencing in their own Buckinghamshire design code. So I think the two can work together, but it would be better to have clarity.
Through you, Chair. My worry is that Tina made really good points about that if you don't mention it enough times, it isn't present. There's another time where the Buckingham neighbourhood plan hasn't been mentioned. It was a legal plan found to be sound, approved and recommended and silent. So the whole point of it was, in addition to that, the design code was upgraded and agreed and recommended. So we need to add an enforcement around the legislative framework, which is that once it has become a policy, it becomes a policy, and you can't, things don't work retrospectively. If they've accepted something, unless they actively move to delete it, by its very nature in law, it would be seen that it is actually a policy. So I think we need, I know Sheena said that, but I think we can't stress it strongly enough.
Okay. So move on to site allocations. Sorry, Roger.
Just a quick comment. Charter neighbourhood plan is, if you've got a local neighbourhood plan, then policies in there are used primarily as long as they're not strategic policies. So as far as development management goes, the first port of call should be the neighbourhood plan. If it's a strategic policy, then in the local plan and that was the plan thing, but more strategic, then we have preference.
Okay. So site allocations, the next 08 Buckingham, we touched on the Spine Road earlier, and the planning applications that were already in the process on that. Does anybody have anything that they wish to add to what Sheena has already got in this report? Okay. Robin?
Yeah, thank you, Sheena. Again, one of the things with the NES as it is, it's been under no illusions. It crosses two boundaries. So presently, large sections of that are not in the parish Buckingham, they're in the parish of Broadcote. We asked for that to be looked at, and I've heard nothing since, but we do need to, because when delivering infrastructure under the seal policy which they're bringing forward, the main limited in the scope as it is for this area. We have it's not in our made neighbour plan area, and it's not in the made neighbourhood plan. So the infrastructure from that parish of Dorset wouldn't be able to take so much infrastructure over it. And if it was ours, would we be able to take 25%? Because it would then be part of us. So there's a concern about the use of the infrastructure to be spent locally on things like schools, future doctor surgeries, future facilities which the town needs. So I think there's an outward going thing, a concern in there. Whether somebody can explain to me that that isn't a concern, I'll be really happy. But I'm very concerned that it could mean that we don't get in the nest the necessary infrastructure which they keep going on about through the way that they've made the decisions to deliver the things they're going to want to do, which is the houses.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the points about secondary schools.
Yeah.
You know, thank you for noting all this down. It just goes to prove what we discussed in the previous meeting. It's outrageous. Are we just going to hope that people moving into the thousands of new homes don't have children over the age of 11? Because there is no solution to it whatsoever.
It's not pinned down in the Windsor and Buckingham area as it is in some of the other nest areas on that. One thing that I was wanting to get added was that there was no provision talked about within the Buckingham and North Bucks area that further send special educational needs provision. Thursdown is the only provision we've got. They have last time I spoke to the head, 6 applicants for each place they've got there. So there's nothing in this area for children who have got needs which aren't as great as that.
Special needs.
Martin.
This NES, new economic strategic settlements. Got it. Recommends that it's the south area of Buckingham. That's the one they're putting forward in their document. But I think this is the time, if they want to do something like that, as Councillor Stutchbury has said, it's not a lot in our area. And also they need to now go for a breakaway town, because those settlements, as they like to call it, are going to be way disconnected from the centre of Buckingham. It's not going to be Buckingham. So they need to think about something else going in. Yeah, it may not be as far away as they wanted to from a main town, but it's not going to do our town any good, in my view.
Thank you.
And with all of the other educational bits, normal and special needs, we've got a real problem coming along.
The road structure isn't, the way they're proposing it isn't making something that would be cohesive. I'm going to take Jane, because Robin has given me quite a lot of input so far, and we will take the
So just a quick comment that Councillor Try reminded me. Today I was listening to somebody and she said, why can't they just build a new town with all the infrastructure and not fling houses into the fields around Buckingham?
Sticky tape it.
And there's flinging houses in the fields around Buckingham. I thought, but I can really just see that's what's happening here. So while I'm on my feet, can I just commend the work? Because I'm sitting here, it would be we're all sitting here, it would be fairly silent, because this is a stunning piece of work. It does show elsewhere a certain lack of knowledge of this area, which sort of makes me feel that we are even more remote than we thought we were from other parts of the area. But I do think that we are speaking from a position of strength, because this is a good document. I hope it's received in Aylesbury in the spirit which I hope it's intended, which is apart from marking their homework in a rather tough way, that we actually want to make this plan better, because we need to have something.
Secondary school.
Martin,
Can it just let it be said with Sheena that we went through some hard marking with our neighbourhood plan. So there should be no reason that they don't get the dots and the I's in the right place and not think about sites that are not actually there. So
Absolutely.
what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
100%. All the else we done.
I just wanted to add that Loyalton is full as well.
Yeah.
Because when we're looking at secondary school places, it shouldn't just be, it should be grammar school as well as.
the
Which is really-
issue with that, they can't make a plan which goes against the law, and the law currently is that they're not allowed to build any more grammar schools.
Yeah.
So they could extend,
They can extend.
or they could relocate, as they've done in ours. But they can't build new grammar schools. Robert,
Yeah, thank everyone for the interest in secondary school. Been questioning this matter since 2017, which is a public record. Today, we have not got a substantial position in abeyance for places or additional places at Buckingham School, though there are always conversations going on about possible delivery of secondary school places. So I think it's absolutely right that we put it in there, because when you read the Section 106 agreements currently in Buckingham, they state, because of the academy thing and whatever, we used to say contributions to Buckingham and Grammar School, and they used to, now they tend to be contributions to Buckingham School and Buckingham Primary. Now, we aren't making provision today, and we've had problems with allocations this September, which is ongoing. So the idea that we are not in a good position and that there's nothing substantial, and as said by others, they haven't put a school here in Buckingham and Winslow. The Winslow growth's future led, and that may happen between now and 2045 at the speed the developers develop it, say with the Western development. But today, not to actually match the aspirations in the Buckingham neighbourhood plan, which was to have a secondary school, not to pick that policy up that it's a necessity, is a weakness. Because I listened to Roger, and correct me if I'm wrong, please do, because I think that when you had 3,500 houses in one estate in Owsbury, it delivered a secondary school, and we've got that coming now, and those are houses before we take the plan number, which is over and above that. So to not mention it is not good. It's tantamount to being negligent, really, because if the idea that our children currently are being offered places down in some children being offered places in Stoke Manor, the idea that we want our children travelling is out. So I think if there's a way of strengthening that up to can you give the evidence base what you're doing, because there is none. There's talk and conversations which have never been made public on this. The only public conversations on this has been myself with questions. So I am worried, because I don't want to see the next generation of children in buses travelling around Buckinghamshire trying to find a place for school. We need them locally. That will damage their child over there in grammar school or secondary school.
okay, so go through quite a lot of points. Has anybody got anything to add to any of the John?
I wonder, I'm looking on page 23,
Okay.
whether it's worth mentioning a little bit more of the fact that we are a university town.
Okay, so
And that gives
just go forward to that.
Yeah, that gives us the special, I think, special challenges, particularly around HMOs.
Yeah.
Particularly around generally student population. Also around employment as well. That's a factor too. So I'm not quite sure where that intersects with the draft local plan. But I think there's a bit there that to add.
There is some about student accommodation.
There is, yeah,
What I've read in the plan, so, yeah.
I'm just wondering if there's a bit more we can say, but
Yeah.
I'm not.
So
I'm
for
not
emphasis on that,
sure.
I think you can pick that out, Gina.
Yes, I mean, I think the site allocation for the innovate site does pick up on our neighbourhood plan policy that is basically saying we don't want to impede the university. We understand the importance of the university to our economy, but also on the other hand, student accommodation can cause problems in the housing market. So there's a balance there, and I think they have picked that up in what they say about the innovate site. So hopefully, yeah. Otherwise, I can't see how we, within the framework of the regulation 19 consultation, we get that point in.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Okay, thank you, John. So that's anyway, so small site allocations. We've got like Thornton Meadow, which is already we've just discussed. London Tindrick Road, so 5.6 hectares, resulting in 45 homes, and planning application that's currently in for that is for 16 homes. So that's well, massive working in my head, but yeah. So there's some issues with the what's it called?
Maths.
Fingers
and toes.
Density equals mass over volume. Robin.
4.17. It alludes, and we discussed it this afternoon, and we're discussing it again. Waste plan policy. I'm unclear what that means, whether it means a future waste recycle site in Buckingham, or whether it means future waste plan.
What? Sorry.
We're on
417.
417.
Page 23.
Page 23. Same page that John was on. If you go through there, and it goes through there, and it goes into flood zones, brownfields, whatever, but it doesn't define what it is, and it doesn't define where it's going to deliver it. Having read something through my door that says we're going to deliver something, I can't find any evidence where, or when, or why, how. So I think that
I think there's something further.
If there's something specifically does that, because it's so imprecise that it could be anything. If it means that they're going to put a new site to, because water growth's come in, we're going to have another waste site to move the trucks around because we've got so many people in the new privatised utilities that they're going to introduce in 2029. I think I don't know how we strengthen that up, whether Sheena give a suggestion.
So I think there's
What's happened there is some of that has been copied from our unadvised to put in as much detail as we had about the innovate site, so that the Buckinghamshire Council can pick up on that, and there's a reference there to the waste policy. I think in terms of the new waste household refuge centre, etc., is that and waste transfer, yeah, we need to put that in at some point about the infrastructure delivery because they haven't got a site.
But there's nothing in the plan about one, so it doesn't exist. It's just a theoretical.
Sort of
It's in the infrastructure delivery schedule, but it doesn't mean that it's the main plan.
I think we might have talked about this when trying to battle with the knock on the door really.
Yeah, if you break the door.
Okay. Right, we move on. Different sites. Any other comments on any of the sites to add? So, okay, let's move on then to development management policies. So housing mix, and then affordable housing. So she was done quite a bit of work on this, the affordable, and then the housing mix with this. They haven't got the number that they've said that they need of affordable, so that's sort of sums wrong. Ignores the fact that a substantial proportion of affordable housing will be delivered in the north and central areas, and not in the south, as Heather was saying before about employment sites. No detailed justification of reduction in north and central areas to 25 from 40%, and so charging schedule. And then she has done a very useful table on significant developments in Buckingham with Catherine's assistance on this. Of the fact that we have had 30-35% affordable and more in sites or on sites for quite some time, and I believe without any kickback or complaints from developers. So that's something that we should be making sure that we are saying. Well, because it's something to add rather than something just to comment.
Not a comment, is it? If they're doing 40% in the south where they're having no developments, because of the green belt, and there's 29% and 25% theoretical in the north, it means that the plan becomes more unsustainable because people are going to have to move to find somewhere to live. And I know it's mentioned, but we must say it because it's going to be a cost on the people in the south, breaks up family units and changes the nature of communities. And that's really distressing.
So then, very usefully as well, she has looked at the neighbouring districts, etc. Some really good figures and information on that. And then Lucy.
No, you can't.
Okay. Continuing lack of affordability within the Buckingham area, and she's done some sums with the cost and average salaries, etc. What she hasn't done is done those sums on minimum wage. So 39-hour week on minimum wage will bring in £495.69, which equates to £25,775.88 per annum, which is well below the figures that here we go. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
That's
basic, yeah.
I think speak to them, but yeah, an average salary in Buckinghamshire is £37,000, but again, in Buckinghamshire, as we all know, averages aren't necessarily indicative of the majority, because you can have, you live in an affluent area, there's a lot of people on very high salaries, that's going to affect numbers. And also, as Shirley quite rightly pointed out, that's reliant on someone being able to get to that average salary point, and also being able to save for a deposit during that time whilst renting. And the average price, this isn't a factual statistic, but the affordable housing cost for a one-bedroom property in Buckingham is between £750 to £900 a month, just what I'm aware of. So that plus council tax plus bills doesn't leave a lot left over to save up for a deposit, while still trying to reach that £37,000 average salary.
Okay. So move on to the next bit then. So that's some useful extra information to go in there. And then we look at accessible, I've missed out, have we got, there?
No, we're on it.
Accessible, yeah, I just wanted to make sure I hadn't missed out HMOs first. So accessible homes. So anybody got anything that they'd like to add on what Sheila has put in there? Yeah, Martin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, it's not just to do with HMOs, it covers a wide-ranging areas of the whole report. Has anybody asked the question, do they have the person power in the glorious tower up there to be able to manage all of this? All of the refuge, all of the new homes and the things that go with it, all of that they have to get together. You know, HMOs, there will be more of them. Yeah. They need more people to do more things. So we're going to be swamped with all these people. Can the county actually cope with all of this, moving into their smaller new premises?
I think that's a very good question to ask, but I think it's probably outside the remit or the range of the.
No, just because you got a plan doesn't mean that you can do it, manage it.
You just have to.
Yeah. So, well, unlike everybody, all these new people are going to jobs, aren't they? So,
yeah, where?
So yeah, so accessible homes. I think Roger came up with something when we had one of these meetings about why don't they just make all the doorways wider?
Yeah.
Instead of.
I thought that was the case anyway.
No,
not at all.
Really?
No, yeah.
Our house is on Charman.
Sorry, Lisa.
No, I think the, sorry, 1% figure is far too low.
Yeah.
But our figure was far higher than that. But if we wish to have a progressive plan, then you could just say that every new house has to have one threshold.
Yeah.
You have some level threshold.
Yeah.
It seems to me that maybe we could, as an aside, suggest that.
So aside from accessibility for people, sofas are getting bigger as well. Lucy.
Yeah, just in agreement to what Roger was saying. Just because you don't have accessibility needs when you move into a property, doesn't mean that some some things can happen to everyone.
Yeah.
And whether that's temporary accessibility issues from an accident or long-term health issues. In addition to that, even for example, like the flats that are in Rumbold, even the ground floor flats aren't wheelchair accessible because there's about a 6-inch step to get in from the car park side, and then there's a set of 3 steps to get in from the other side, which could a bit of forward planning could meant that you had 3 accessible ground floor flats, and then the other 2 floors could have been for more able-bodied.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have your hand up, Robin?
Yeah, I mean, disability comes at all stages of life. I think the point that you should start from the basis that all new properties have the disability entrance the same, because they need to be functional. The other thing is the Equalities Act is the Equalities Act, and are they, by not making in new properties in the plan, in breach of the Equalities Act? Because I did manage to, without going into too much detail, manage to overturn the refusal under the grounds of the Equalities Act, and the policies in the Vale plan were strict about actually having to make provision for people with disabilities. So I haven't seen that they've strengthened it. In fact, they're diluting it, and the profile of the population is getting older, and as we said, so I think we should put in there that presume that the policies would be in line with the Equalities and Disability Act, because I don't think they are. And if they're not in line with this, the inspector will ask why not. I would hope so.
I hope so.
Thank you, Robin. So we'll move on to HMOs then. I think Sheena's made some very good points. Wording is overly vague and non-specific. Does anybody have any comments, any additions to make to the HMO policy submission? Lisa?
Is there anywhere that says about the local authority again that these HMOs are, because they've got, the person's got to register their house as a HMO, but is there someone that actually checks?
Okay, so I think that in the documentation, there was Aylesbury Vale brought in licensing for HMOs quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
Are over a certain number of rooms.
Yeah.
I don't think the other 3 districts did. So there are a lot of HMOs within Buckinghamshire. So they've not really got any idea about how many HMOs there actually are.
Yeah.
So there is a thing about licensing in there. I think
There's in sporting text, there is about enforcement. So yes, and that's obviously in the housing strategy as well. They've talked about the fact that they want to manage HMOs through enforcement and standards of licensing. So there's a strategy document in the evidence base, but there's also in the sporting text about enforcement as
Oh,
well.
brilliant. Thanks.
Yeah, yes.
so. We.
Just a parting comment, the only reason there's HMO policy in the Vale was because we asked for it from here. So we changed the policy from here because we were having problems historically. So the fact that it's even mentioned at all down to the discussion around this table.
Thank you for being. Okay, we're on exception sites. I think that's
Just more for clarification.
yeah, I think that speaks for itself. Wonderful sites again, I think Sheena's comments speak for themselves there. Does anybody else wants to add something? We go to economic development. We touched on Silverstone Enterprise Zone before. I don't think we've got anything. It's nice to see that they're protecting our existing industrial sites, John.
Again, this is a random thought, and I can't remember exactly what's in that. But we've heard so much talk about the Oxford Cambridge Arc, or the Buckingham Bows, I prefer to call it. There seems to be no real cross-referencing with that to the local plan. There's meant to be an employment buzz all the way from the 2 university towns and either side of this. Some sort of Silbury Valley type thing. Where is that mentioned in respect of the developments here in North Bucks to mean that people living in North Bucks, all their houses and their existing, as we've said many a time, will be able to work there? So where is that? Do we critique that anywhere?
It's there are references to it about the justification for the north because it obviously comes into the knowledge art, but it's not, I would say it's not a key platform for them. It's referenced, but it's not a major player in the game.
John.
All of this reminds me of a thing that I saw many years ago, like a big sort of flow chart and everything else. And then at the bottom it said, and then a little miracle happens, result. It's like, it's an exercise in conjuring. You've got all this stuff happening, and then miraculously we'll get sustainable ability at the end of it. But it's a miracle if it happens.
Robin.
6.4, the FinMere allocation. Gina's put a really good words in there around that, but the reality is, we discussed earlier about the corridor, the A421 corridor, because we don't know that there's been any duty to cooperate. The A421 corridor carries on from there to the A443. So the fact that that site, to attract people to that site to get to the M40, there needs to be some evidence put about what they've done to make sure that site's sustainable, because no one's going to come to it if it hasn't got the transport links to get back to the M40. They're not going to want to come back this way, because that'd be impossible, wouldn't it? But I think
this comes back to the thing from the inspector's report from the ACOA and site Q, to say that there was no call for it, basically, wasn't it? So I think that's
Self-defeating.
yeah.
But it might be self-defeating, but because we've been offered no employment sites in Buckingham, this is the closest additional employment site to Buckingham, which is only just 300 bit miles up the road on the aerodrome, which served as well for training people in Zegel Wharf. So I do think that in addition to that, a note saying, is there any evidence of working with South Northants on the dualling of the other section of the A421 to make that site sustainable? I think those words are reasonable.
Is it not such a?
I don't. No, it's Northamptonshire once you get over there. It's Northamptonshire, a bit of Oxfordshire, Mixbury's in Northamptonshire, Brackley's in Northamptonshire, Finmere's in Oxfordshire. It's a bit of a mess there, but that road is owned by different people. But if they haven't done this due to cooperate business, that site will be fail, and we want it to succeed. Future generations need employment.
Okay, thank you. Environment and design policies generally. Concerns that the local plan policy is not being confined with national policy.
Again, this is the neighbourhood plan.
Yeah.
We've got policies that complement, but there's no indication of how they will work together or acknowledgement of them.
Yeah. Transport, I think something that is a really big thing on transport in general is that there are 28 railway stations in Buckinghamshire. 27 of them are Aylesbury and south of Aylesbury, and then there's Winslow.
Oh, which doesn't have any trains. Station though.
I think
Very tight.
we also need
Station
to emphasise that while they've said that they are protecting the land to do the link between Aylesbury and Winslow, the train line, it's not actually in the plan. So we have no southern links by rail in the north of the county. Roger.
That was originally in East West Rail, Aylesbury, but HS2 objective. So until HS2 is gone, it's unlikely that that line will be reopened.
I'm going to say that I don't think it should make a difference. But hey,
It's not scary.
things like freight lines, there are HS2s mentioned, but they don't seem to have realised that HS2 doesn't really stops on it. Robin?
I think the set this afternoon is if they mention freight, just of that line, there's no passing bay on the line to have two trains passing, so there's no provision for infrastructure for goods train going one way or train going the other way and to actually pass the bay because of the nature of the line. So I think they failed to recognise that. But they need to have somewhere for goods trains to pull out when they're going with priority track.
It's already been used for freight, east west.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's because there's no trains on it, John, for people. I mean, I just feel that historically, they used to have lines when you pulled your goods wagon out the way and let them go by and then moved it on. There isn't. Especially if you've got a train going both ways.
I think Sheila has covered the freight aspect of that quite
People are freight.
well. And then the rest of the infrastructure, like we need the infrastructure to be there at the start of the building and not be chased around or afterwards. Anybody got any additional points on that? Well, we haven't already covered and Sheena hasn't covered.
Well, only to say, I can't see how they are going to deliver infrastructure and then supply all of the housing and schooling and everything else by the time this plan runs out in 2045. So, you know, they've got to shot themselves in the foot straight away.
Yeah, then we come on to Buckingham Waste Station, local authority capital projects, looking at sites ideally in the area itself, in proximity to areas housing research and waste management facilities, blah blah. It doesn't say whether it's looking at a new or recited tip, or whether it would be somewhere for the bin lorries to be using as a base, offloading, processing before the rubbish then goes on to being processed elsewhere at Albert or so again with all of these things in the plan, there are no specifics on infrastructure. There's no site allocated for that. So that's yeah, Roger.
I was just going to say, reading what it says, what they have an answer at the minute is the bins go in, and they've got a recycling centre there, so they collect the waste and take it in. So it looks like they're proposing something like that. South of Buckingham. Well,
Yeah, I think the point being made is that it should be specified in the plan and not this woolly sort of mention of it. Okay. Right. To Western Nest Secondary School, Winston Nest Secondary School, and then we've done quite a bit on the water infrastructure already. Something else already done?
Yeah, I mean, we've gone on to secondary, go back again, we can't say about it enough. I mean, they have made provision in these areas which they're sticking against Milton Keynes for secondary there next. And they're not going to be built for a very, very long time. So again, to reinforce that it isn't in our nest and that it isn't added in Buckingham because out of the two communities, I think they're probably, with what's going on and what's taking place, going to be the largest growth. So our children clearly are obviously not going to read and write, and they're all going to go somewhere else. So they're not going to bother educating our children. So in this plan, so I think I mean, we need to reinforce that.
There's quite a lot of detail in Sheena's thing. It's been in several places on it. So then the built environment policies.
Same issue.
Yeah,
We have
yeah,
an
absolutely. Neighbourhood plan, absolutely. Social environment, the community food growing seems to be a bit of a strange one. It's not really been pinned down what they mean by it. They're definitely not calling it allotments because that's something there's different criteria that have to be done around allotments. So it feels like that's something that would be quite difficult for the developers to actually supply. John?
I'm just gonna go into climate change,
Yeah,
which is the next
I
one.
was just about to do that. I
Is
was going to do community facilities first, but hey.
there anything in there at all about fire risk? We've seen one the last few weeks, last week or so, where a fire in Rushland brought several houses. Led people to move out their houses in significant numbers.
Yeah.
Is there anything at all in the plan, and now should there be, and then maybe there's a thing with the MPP either, about some sort of buffer zones, something that allows housing estates, new housing estates that are obviously all built on the edges of towns to be protected against such risks, because we know that the climate means that we're only going to get more hot and dry summers like we've had the last few weeks. What's to be done?
Don't think there is anything in there, is there? But that is something to bring up alongside the flood risk and water efficiency standards. Ravina.
I just wanted to point out to Councillor Harvey that surely our annual government alert should be sufficient.
I was sat in a field with 6,500 people when that came through, and everybody's phones at the same time. Really weird.
Just nothing to do with the plan, just to reassure you, John. I had a conversation this afternoon, one of my meetings with Emily Darlington, who's now the Member of Parliament, and her and I came to the fire. So it is the risk of fire and increased need is a risk which I am responsible for. So it's there and it's been assessed in the fire authority.
So
it's relevant. John asked a question how it's going to be, and I beg your pardon, but I'm explaining to him how it's going to be calculated in the fire service. They are up the risk and they are doing lots of work to calculate because they realise that the environment's changed and there's high risk. You look at the report, it's there.
Thank you. Okay, so adding forestry and Martin.
Yeah, climate change, and it's not in this bit, but building of settlements or buildings for human habitation. There's a suggestion that maybe going forward, each house ought to have its own sump of water, thereby not having to build a large reservoir, but each one has quite a substantial thing underground. And I thought, that's an interesting way of tackling climate change.
So I think Sheena's put something in when you talked about what way to be slightly mentioned earlier, and that they weren't being as was it adventurous? It wasn't adventurous a word. What was it?
The water efficiency standard could be more ambitious.
More ambitious, that's the one thing. Okay, but we are at 20 to 9 now. We've still got a planning meeting to go through.
I'll just take it as read, Sheena, I raised some points this afternoon around those elements to the climate change, water management, environment, and the insufficiencies in the plan to stress those. And as the Mayor rightly said, we've been rightfully discussing this for a long time, last for 2024, so or 44, whatever it is. So I might take it as read those points that we raised without repeating them about drought and management between angular water and such can be added in verbatim.
Yeah.
Save me going through them one after the other.
Right. Thank you, everybody, for your input on all of this. Sheena's obviously got some more work to do. Howard.
I just want to thank Sheena for the amount of time and effort she's got into it. And I think We record a vote of thanks to her and everyone that helped her in
Definitely.
producing this report, which, believe it or not, has saved a lot of time.
Yeah.
I think I said that at the beginning of the I agree with that entirely. Okay, so Sheila has now obviously got quite a lot of notes, quite a lot of things to add in. Thankfully not anything to take out. So we've agreed with everything that that she's already said, and then we've got some new things to additionally. I would like to propose that we take the recommendation on this report, which I will read again. Here we go. Town Council submits the following comments on policies and draft plan regulation 19 consultation, allowing officers to supplement with additional supporting evidence if necessary before submission. Yeah, go on. Okay, I will do so. I thought that covered it quite well, but hey, if you think we need to add something like, yeah, okay. So in addition to that recommendation to delegate authority to the town plan officer to add the points that we raised in this meeting, I was thinking just to clarify.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I propose that we accept the recommendation. Lisa, I think you had your hand up.
You're seconded.
Thank you very much. All those in favour? And that's unanimous. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
We've still got
Response.
a response to crowd ace to go through.
Yeah.
So Claire, do you want to talk on that at all?
Briefly, I would say, however, that she went on holiday and has been attended with a mistake. In section 2.1 and 2, where I've written the Mammoth Farm site, I clearly mean the Crown H homes site in question. I was just having a
Okay. Too hot.
John,
I propose we accept the recommendation. So we
I think Rebecca had her hand up before. So Rebecca seconded. Okay, we'll go for it. All those in favour? That's unanimous again, and again, did you not?
Didn't.
You didn't?
Yeah.
I did not.
Oh, did you not? Sorry, it wasn't. So, anybody against? One against, any abstentions? No, okay, so that's carried. Anyway, again, thanks to the town clerk and the plan officer for doing that. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to hit the gavel now and end this meeting. Go straight on to planning. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Martin.
We're on.
Right, welcome to this meeting of the Buckingham Town Council Planning Committee. And there's no public session as I can see. And the first item on the agenda is apologies for absence. And could I ask the committee clerk, are there any apologies for absence?
I'm seeing those apologies until number 6.
Okay,
Can I propose to accept those apologies?
Eva, and a seconder. Lisa, okay, all in favour? Thank you very much. Any other apologies for absence? No, that's okay. Thank you very much. Item 2, are there any declarations of interest to anything on here? No. Robert, or first name terms now.
We've been married for long enough. Yeah, just we'll use the one just in case some of this ever drifts away for a committee meeting. We'll never know.
Okay, thank you. And John.
Well, I see it's not going to be discussed, but I was going to say I'll opt out of issue number 2.
Yeah.
It's quite close to what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you have to price Snellings.
Well, I could.
I think it'll pass so quickly that you will. Item 3 on the agenda is the minutes, to agree the minutes of the planning committee meetings held on 15th June 26 and the 13th of July 2026. Can I propose that we accept these?
Agree.
The mayor and all in favour, yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much indeed. Right, okay. Item 4, planning applications. Now, this is all trees involved, but let's oh, sweetie.
Heather, Fran's just going to get a tea towel.
Thank you. So item 4, members' information, the next scheduled Buckinghamshire Council, North Buckinghamshire Planning Area Committee meetings are on Wednesdays, 19th of August and the 9th of September at 2:30 p.m. Strategic Science Committee meetings are on Thursday, the 27th of August and the 24th of September at 2 p.m. And right, so we have the following planning applications to look at. The first 2 are already decided.
Because they couldn't get an extension.
Okay, so the 33 the High Street, a eucalyptus tree which has been moved to ground level. Equates to being cut down.
Yeah.
Due to overbearing size, and this was one that we didn't have a chance to comment on it. It came and went, timed out, and the planning clerk tells me that there wasn't able to get an extension.
I don't know, but the tree was circulated in the normal way and all of them agreed.
Okay, sure you all agreed.
No, they commented.
Yes, technically they commented.
Yeah, but because I still put this into the and then so if I can, yeah.
Thank you very much. And the second application, also for information, 27 tree fields, certificate of lawfulness for the proposed loft conversion with only Velux windows. And again, that has gone through before discussion here. And so we are left to note it. Item 3, get your teeth into planning application for the house, lovely name, for Danube in Stratford Road, which is a house which I reforms over 80 years old, quite young. And it's a conversion of the garage, which is out in their forecourt area, involving reconfiguration of roof and installation of dormer windows. Now, I appreciate members' comments, please.
I don't think there's any objection to this in policy terms. I don't think there's an objection in policy terms. So I'll propose those objections.
Would anybody like to second that? Tony seconding that? Are members in favour of supporting no objections to this application? See a vote, show of hands, all in favour? Thank you very much indeed, that's unanimous apart from, Robin. Thank you. And item 4, number 2, London Road, a white fir, remove the tree to the ground level as the tree is mostly dead. It's rather
Tree is no more.
The good tree expires.
I should have welcomed Anthony here from the Buckingham Society and mentor to us all, I'm sure. Anthony, your comments.
I announced myself by throwing water all over Heather, but I think it's tough. On this one, this is the second time this has come up. About 4 or 5 years ago, a very similar application went through, which was refused. And at the time they said this tree is nearly dead. And I thought, well, it's managed to avoid the Grim Reaper for 5 years and it's still only nearly dead. So my question is, when is dead not nearly dead? But more sensibly, if it is decided it has to be felled, the Buckingham Society would press very strongly for a like-for-like specimen to replace it.
Yeah. What do other people think about that? It's a suggestion.
I agree with it.
It doesn't sound like it's a tree that's going to flourish much in the future. It's gone from being nearly dead to being mostly dead. And seems to have a history of dying.
One thing I would say about
Roger?
a lot of these trees, people think are dead, they're not, because a lot of it is to do with compaction of the roots. So if you move stuff away from the root protection area, and then we're at the top of this one.
And it's quite interesting, so they did remove it to ground level, it might start, we've had this experience with that with a big willow tree, it came back wonderfully. It wanted to come back, but it came back, yeah. So is the proposal then that we have no objections to this? Would somebody like to propose?
No objections, but they replace like for like, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Okay, so Tony is suggesting that. Fran is secondly that. All those in favour? Move it to ground level and replace it with like to like. Okay, that was unanimous apart from the extension of Robin. Item 5, Waglan's Garden, 18 Waglan's Garden. I suspect Roger and others have seen this one before as well, so it's a fairly routine application. Overall crown reduction of a horse chestnut by 2 to 3 metres back to the previous points. And I think I'll probably leave you to read the rest of it there. Do we have any thoughts on that?
No objections.
No. No. Okay. Comment, Martin?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, thank you for putting that application in, because we all knew trees were going to be a problem in those, in that area, and they need to be managed. So if this is how they're going to do it, then good for them.
Yeah.
You don't need to stand up anymore.
Oh no, I forgot that. Your Honour, thank you.
Okay, so there's a proposal from Tony, and I'm thinking Martin's probably seconded it, so
Yes.
anyway, all in favour of no objection. Thank you very much indeed. That's unanimous, Martin, Robin. And then we've come to us with a plethora of trees, open space opposite 3 Bernardine's Way, where there is a grey poplar that needs to be reduced in its crown. There's 3 ashes that have got the, sounds have got the dieback, and another grey poplar if we pollarded to 10 metres now. Is this good tree management?
Seems to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we, would somebody like to propose that we have no exception to that?
Oh, sorry, in the second song.
To Rogers, and then seconded by Tony. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. All in favour of Mrs. Marjoe? Thank you, Roger. No objection. Thank you, right, indeed. Lovely. And then we have on the next page, Miss Hill Academy, up in Catchpole Street, a certificate of lawfulness for the proposed construction of a single-storey detached sensory classroom. Right.
I propose no objections. Seems very yeah, good use of a bit of their land. Yeah.
Okay, so Fran is proposing. You okay? Oh, I see. Fran is proposing no objections. Do I have a seconder for that? Oh, I'll go from Martin, because he's slightly nearer. All in favour of no objections to the sensory building? Okay, that was unanimous. Thank you very much indeed, and the extension of Robin. Right, so, and we have a group of planning decisions, which well, nearly all went with the flow, so we had approved, well, we had no objections and they were approved. But the first one, the variation of condition about the high lows to allow kitchen facilities installed in 5 rooms did not go through. That was calling was refused. It's under approved. Calling was refused.
No.
The calling was refused.
Yeah. Our calling was refused. That's what I said, yeah. So, yeah, calling we'll get to. The calling was refused and the application was approved. And I think that makes me feel sad, actually.
Yeah.
Robin first, and then Phil.
Just for the chair, I asked the committee just as what the committee said. I was advised that like chair and vice chair, the reason which actually mirrored your own, not almost identically, in fact they were identical, were not substantive enough to get effective. That's what I was told, and well, we are where we are, but we'll live with the outcome of that in Buckingham residents. But I think collectively everybody did what they could do to limit it.
Yeah. So we look at Martin.
So who approved it then?
Standard procedure is that it's for the planning officer and the chair of the committee, but it seems to now be having vice chairs wrote named on it as well. We decide whether the calling is substantial enough to go to committee, but we might not be calling anything in future.
You mean they didn't fancy a committee meeting, so they just do it themselves?
Yeah, we don't have committee meetings, but very rarely.
So who approved it? Was it the chair from the
It's probably record the chair, isn't the vice chair, because don't need to go.
No. That's who, Martin's question was who approved it.
Yeah, that's now standard procedure.
Thank you very much indeed. Right, Fran?
The documentation will be on the planning portal, as it is for the land on Hazley Walk, which was refused. But it came in after the agenda.
Yes, well, that was a good one to receive on Hazley.
Yeah.
Can I move on or not?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not on the agenda, but I think that collectively, there wasn't a council in Buckingham. I think all 3 Buckinghamshire councillors that asked it to go, he never went to committee and they refused it. Everyone, we actually won, but I don't know quite where we have to buy a cake and go and celebrate. That's the case when I didn't want something to go.
Yeah, I know, but this some of wins, some of lose. Thank you, Robin, and thank you, Fran, for reminding us of Hazley Walk, which is good news for most people. Permission got required. 110 Western Avenue, dropped curb installation of hard standing that has I don't know why I've got it on the agenda. It's just happening, isn't it? Yeah, so we just note that. And then number 6, planning inspection. Oh, sorry, Martin.
No, I was just going to say, it's not about winning or not winning, it's about getting the right result for Buckingham,
Yeah,
whatever way that is.
yeah, very good, very good point, yeah, well done, thank you, Martin. I absolutely accept that.
We often feel like we're losing, don't we?
Well, some of us are competitive, that's the problem. So item 6, the planning inspectorate to receive for information notice of an appeal against refusal of the following 24 Pillow Way proposed loft conversion with a rear dormer. We've really no objections, not overlooking any neighbouring properties, adequate parking. And the officer refused the application because he felt the proposed window was over large and affected views into the estate from the public footpath. And there's not much we can do about it. Tears are running out of his head. But anyway, that's where that one fell, as it were. John.
Yeah, I'm just checking this. There is no public footpath next to Pillow Way.
The bridle path that goes up past the school goes past the back of that particular house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
John.
On the map, it didn't look like.
Yeah,
it did.
no.
goes across the crossing.
When Catherine said that, it does feel, right.
You don't need to stand either.
Okay,
Got used to it. It's all right.
well done, you're doing wonderfully, everybody, thank you. Item 7, action reports. Number 7.1, regular action updates. I think we just can note those if you are happy. And getting on to slightly more interesting, in fact, not more interesting. Item 8, Buckinghamshire Council consultation on Osier Way, the weighting restrictions and speed limit amendments. And I've got a fantastic slew of papers and pictures here as to what that might look like. Does anybody have views on that? And thank you, John. And Fran.
I found it really hard to get my bearings. Really hard to get my bearings exactly what they're talking about, but it seems what it is they are planning for a bus route to come off the 421.
Yeah.
And then go down past Audi and BCQ. Then there's this new big change.
There it is.
To go into the estate and then come out on the Gorcott Road.
Yeah.
And what they're trying to put in place, I think, are WL lines that will make the path of that bus and presumably other cars as well using that main spinal road easier. Because we know there's a lot of parking around, where near the police office and the tires and so on. Often it's really stuck up there.
Yeah.
I think if there are WL lines put in there, where are those cars going to go instead?
Yeah.
And I think it could be a question of smoothing out the wrinkles in the sheet. They might smooth out there, here somewhere else. There's nowhere else for them to go.
Yes.
Except perhaps into Edmonton Way. Then
Yes.
I mean, there'll be knock-on effects.
Yes.
I'm not sure whether this is the best approach. I would say create a route and then see what happens. A little bit of experimentation, a bit like the old story of the university that created a new campus, didn't put any paths in and just waited to see where people walked and then put the path in there.
Yes.
I wonder whether they are predicting a bit too much problem when there may not be too much of a problem. So I would be cautious about supporting this at this stage.
Okay, and we were up there today and I was looking at it, it is quite sort of interesting and complex sort of area that they're creating up there. Yes, Fran, you were sorry.
So in terms of the speed limits, I'd like us to propose that we ask for 20 mile an hour speed limit within the estate and the built up areas, and 30 on Osier Way itself from the roundabout, because where it's I think that it says that it's 40 going down to 30 at some point, but I think I'd like to go for request 20 miles an hour within the development.
Because on the questionnaire, which we've got to actually answer by the end of this exercise, the last question is: would you support the amendment of the existing 40 mile an hour speed limit on Osier Way?
No.
So what, I'm not quite sure there, what you're suggesting is going from 40.
I think it should be 30
yeah.
on those OCUA. I
Yes.
think it should be
Yes.
30,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're only allowed to say yes or no, which I think sure can allow add a bit there.
You can always this is in.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's okay. Robin, and then.
I think I recall when we historically discussed all this, was concerned about children coming that way because it's the main drag out of the estate. So as they have more chance of surviving if they're at 20 miles an hour, and they know we'll be going 20, but low and speaking it all round there 30 to 20 seems really logical, because it's not like it's going to be an industrial estate. It's got a whole load of young people who are going to be accessing that road one way or another to come out. And the point about doing it incrementally, I expect if they do it all at once, it'll be paid for by the developer. If they leave it and go incrementally, they'll have to have a new traffic order, which will have to. So I suppose that's why they're trying to do as much as they can in one hit. But I'm supportive of the principle of 20 mile an hour up there, because if you look at the slope, and I went up there, it's quite a slope out of there, isn't it? And if you come down that slope at 30 miles an hour, in the wet of the snow and the ice, it's going to be tricky. So slower and left of that is going to be better for everybody all the long run.
Yeah, can I, while Martin will talk a minute, can I draw your attention to this last thing? This is the bit we've got to nail in a minute. Martin, first.
Yeah, contrary to Councillor to John's comments, I think we have seen work in progress where lorries off-hitch their trailer alongside the gym area, and it causes absolute, because the road's not wide enough there, it's absolute pandemonium. And if you get more cars off the estate, it's going to be hellish. So I would be in favour now of making from the roundabout to the new complicated junction that they've put in, which I got caught up in the other day while I was tarmacking it.
Yeah, we always do.
A no stopping and double yellow there, simply because we've already proved that bit needs to be done. And with the lorries parking there, if you're coming out of Aldi, you can't see cars coming around there. So the whole thing is just ridiculous. So that's why I would say that we've already seen historic items there.
Okay, so the questions are, would you support the introduction of double yellow lines on the following? And the first one is Osier Way, the new junction layout, and north towards Swan Business Park. So that's heading up towards Aldi, isn't it? Swan Business Park.
No, that's the printing press place.
Oh, well, that's what I was thinking,
Yeah, to the roundabout, basically.
Basically.
From the new roundabout to the old.
That's right, yeah. So I would suggest we're saying yes to.
Well,
yellow
John
line.
wasn't.
No, I know, but I would propose, John?
I just think that double lines are a sledgehammer.
I know.
They're saying no parking there ever, unless you're Blue Badge or whatever. And I think it's got to interact with the lorries arriving at the fair. Often park up that road, and parked up there before they drive into town and so on. I just think there are other alternatives as to maybe banning parking altogether, because we know there's a real parking problem around the town, and by bringing in these restrictions, again, it's the highlights why on earth you're putting a housing estate next to an industrial estate, but we'll put that to one side. I'm cautious. I would say.
So you're proposing not for the moment. Is there somebody?
I'm proposing no to all those answers.
Yeah, I know. Does John have a second with that at the moment?
I think I'll second it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see, because we just haven't got enough parking in the town anyway.
Yeah. So you're going for the wait and see option, aren't you? Yeah. Okay.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
That if you have double yellow lines from Aldi down just around the corner, then you can leave the rest of it, because there's a lot of vehicles park on the stretch between the food place,
Knacko.
and then when you get up to the bend at the top.
Yeah,
Top inches.
So there's probably a company on there, if it's.
yeah,
So, but I think I was to say yes and no, is that because all they've given you is, we're proposing this, do you agree?
Yeah.
Without us being allowed to make any suggestions.
Well, let's make some suggestions on. But.
And that,
But first of all, so John and Tony are suggesting that we don't do anything.
Say no to all of it.
I'm saying no to all of it at the moment.
Yeah, no, to all of it.
I think I might change my mind though, and I agree with what we're just saying. That section.
There is the option.
There is,
Okay,
all you
so-
know is what I mean, it's the yes, no interlude is pointless. Because that stops us as the town council making suggestions.
Yes.
No, it does sort of get us into the game. It's a way of getting us to comment, and it's.
there usually is a way of submitting written
Yes.
Yeah.
things rather than.
There is a box for comments, I just
So-
don't know whether it's character related or.
Can I suggest that,
So at the moment, there's no motion on the table because that's
No.
forum.
can I suggest that we don't tick any of these boxes and we put in a written submission
Yeah.
instead
Yeah.
with our thoughts on it?
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, so that's the motion now. But,
Yeah.
we don't do it, we just put in our own written comments.
can I talk around that one?
Yeah.
I think that's a really good idea, but if they're point counting, we've effectively not got a vote because we haven't gone one way or the other way. So they don't know that we don't like it because we haven't said that in the box which the computer will talk about. So I would rather say, yes, we object, because that gets their notice, and then the comments to say, but actually, we'd be quite happy with it this way.
You're suggesting pressing no to.
No,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, we object to it, whatever the
Yeah.
answer is on that.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that,
So we
yeah.
absolutely, we object, and we're gonna tick a few boxes here, but.
That's my motion plus comments then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
There it is.
There's staff here that, I'm not here about 2 minutes. So, if I asked you the question, Osier Way, back up towards the small business park, I think we'd say yes to double yellow lines, because that's the
No,
entry point.
No,
It's just a no to all
we're
of
just
it.
saying no to all of it,
Yeah.
we need to vote on that motion.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah, we need to vote on
we
it.
only need to vote
On the fact that we're going to fill in this form, so our vote gets counted, but we're going to comment.
Say no to it or.
no to everything.
No to, was it no to just question 3?
No to all, yeah,
All those
yeah,
ones.
to all of those ones,
Yeah.
in question 3,
True.
yeah.
No to all of those. And question 4 as well?
No, we haven't got to that yet.
Well, it's all part of the same thing.
Well, it's not,
So John is proposing no to all of the boxes in question 3.
yeah,
But with the comments as discussed.
Yeah.
John, I can't hear you.
And 4 and 5, I'm just saying, I'm proposing no to all of it, and then that comments, so.
So we're in the game, and then we have the comments, yeah. Okay, right. Okay, all in favour of that we say no in the boxes, but we submit our comments, which we're now going to discuss. All in favour? Yeah, okay, agreed. Yes, thank you very much indeed. So what are the comments that we would like to make? Looking at Roger here, sorry.
Well, I just think that if you go for the double yellow lines down to the junction, new junction from the Aldi roundabout.
Yeah.
From the busy print.
from the 421 roundabout.
Yeah,
Down to the new junction,
down to the new junction,
double yellow.
yeah,
both sides.
yeah,
One side.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was,
And that's what you get round the corner.
That's 3.
There's nothing.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
parking, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
then
Because
nothing,
it's a wider road.
I agree with that.
and then speed limits,
30.
30,
30 and 20 in the estate,
20 on the estate.
yeah.
Okay, so comments wise, then we've got, sorry, Martin.
Would we not like double yellows around the NatCo side of the back one? Because otherwise you're saying, well, you can park either side now. And then we'll be going, I know people don't, but you are doing that where you're forcing them to park on the estate side, which leaves a free area around.
I'd object to that, because the point that John made at the top end is exactly where the fair do park. That's where they park their vehicles up and they come down in the town from there. Last thing we really want is,
Yeah, that's where they park. I'm not saying on that side, but stopping them parking on the other side, so.
if we don't put it on there, they can choose where they park, we're not telling them where to park. One side's got the entrances into one lot of things, one of the other, they'd be able, so I think John's point about doing that was the right point.
I think the thing with that one is that every time I've been along there over the last few years since they started building, everything's been parked on the estate, so I don't think it will particularly start there, because you've got the access into that code.
Yeah.
And that code didn't sort of work there anyway.
Okay, right, John?
Can we add a say, please can you remove the caravan between there for months?
Yes.
No.
Not quite, yeah. Yes.
Put the other lines just around the caravan.
Okay, so at the moment, I've got double yellow lines from the A41 down to their new junction.
A41 roundabout,
A41 roundabout.
it has to have roundabout in it.
Yeah. Well, I've got a picture of a roundabout.
Okay.
No, okay.
Well, that's the yes and no
Very
vote.
nice. And then no double yellow lines after that. I know it's a bit of, not for the moment anyway, 30 miles an hour generally and 20 miles an hour on the actual estate.
Yeah.
Now, who proposed that and who seconded it?
It doesn't matter, the mayor.
Is out there.
Who you choose,
John proposed.
I'll second.
as long as it goes through.
All in favour of that motion? Okay, thank you very much, Neil. All carried. Thank you, actually, Dean. And I very
Traffic.
I know that was me. Oh my God, now we've got street naming. So you've got another, you're on. Roger?
This housing doesn't record the right design codes. And I've written to the officer saying that it's, we have space standards in our design code.
Yeah.
And this doesn't record them. So I started typing in their box online and it crashed. So I wrote back to the office when I had it service.
Okay.
Stating that this layout needs to change.
Yeah.
Because it was up to how many houses it is. But that doesn't, if they build to the next one, it doesn't record design code. So they
Fran?
I think we said something about that in our.
Sounds vaguely familiar, doesn't it? Roger wasn't here. Anyway, we know this is board with that design code. Now, just a very simple question to you now for the estate. Do you want to choose a theme which is about trades and professions? I think I'll let Fran speak to that one, or do you want to choose a theme which is about the names of former businesses of the town? Now, so Fran and Robin wasn't split venue. Fran, do you want to split?
Okay, so well, there was films as well, wasn't there? And I think somebody suggested, because it's like you like
That was me, that was a bomb.
yeah,
But.
No, you're allowed.
So I was thinking because
trades and professions.
because and it's on similar lines to I think Robin's suggestion on the foreign business of the town, because it was designated in the last neighbourhood plan as an employment site. It is now mostly a redundant employment site, so I thought if we could come up with some names of old traditional trades or professions.
Like not proper.
Yeah.
Blacksmith's Road.
Okay, hang on a sec. So Fran, that's your idea, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, just to
Yeah.
just have a little.
Have a bit of fun with it. Okay, I can see your hand on. I will get you. I'm just going to go to Robin next because he proposes the.
Mine was firms, and the reason I put firms in very much the same guides as Fran, but we have lots of firms that are no longer in Buckingham, who are historic firms that we've lost. And it's following.
And
Towns, we went
Yeah.
through it, but they're there and, you know, Parker, the cinema and so on and stuff. But they have gone, but they're part of our history and we should record our history in the sense that they were here. And it also plays into the fact that in years to come, people may ask why that's got firms and employment on it, is because it should have been firms and employment. And that's where very much the same basis that we did Embleton Way.
Not Embleton Way.
Twickenham Way, because that should have been a rugby pitch. So we named it after the rugby pitch, so that we can start actually marking their homework, but they don't do the right thing. So my logic is about that because I could go through the list of names, but I think Catherine's got them, but we're not agreeing a list of names.
No, we're not.
We're only agreeing on three.
Flavour. Now, John's been waiting very patiently. Thank you. I just wanted to.
Yeah, I support.
Protagonist.
I support Fran's approach, and I hear what you're saying, and I get that. My worry is about that, about Robin's approach, is that the names would be all over the shop. There would be no obvious integrity to them in terms of people uncertainty. Let me finish, Robin, okay? Whereas I think Fran's approach of things like, I've written down here, Farrier, Smithy, Declan, Wheel, Right, Sadler, Player, White, Swider, Baker, Miller. Preacher, digger, hedgemaker, weaver, basket, carpenter, butcher. Those names kind of hang together as a thing. So I support Fran, I would second Fran.
Can I also say though, that we are going to have so many of these God down the states coming our way.
Yeah.
There'll be plenty of room for everybody, but now Robin would like to
I
try
mean,
it by giving.
I'm not, it's nice that we were just brief, you've gone through our list. I was sticking to the protocol. The reality is we've lost so many companies in Buckingham which employed people, gave people an income before many of us were here, and they've gone. And they're our history. If we don't mark our own history, and we can just come up with flippant names, which
We might lose a lot.
which don't. I don't know a Sadler, and I don't know such as, but I knew there was a company called, which is Henry Hartwich, and I knew there was this, and I knew that firm, and I knew that this was in there, and I knew all the firms that we've done a list of, which were in Buckingham. They've gone, they were part of the history for this town for probably 70, 80, 90 years. And this estate will be the history of the town for probably 100, 250 years. And yeah, and they didn't
those bricks.
Pardon?
Not with those bricks.
No, well,
Let me finish. Robin.
well, I mean, apart from the bricks it's going to be built out of, which is a very good point. So I strongly argue against the point because we've named some mistake, and I've just alluded to why we've done them. This is an opportunity to carry on that tradition of marking our own homework where we have lost things and
The Clinton Trust.
yeah.
Okay, right. Robin, Roger, and then we're going to go to.
But the railroad used to go right across the middle of that field.
Yeah.
So, and there was a Royal Observer Court in there, wasn't there, from the wall. So maybe some railway lines in there. Just a thought.
Just a thought, we'll pop that on for future. Now, what I need is somebody to propose a second one of these.
What kind of house?
Yeah, okay, and then we're going to have a vote on. A vote on trades and professions versus former businesses up until. So the name of trades and professions, the idea that was a theme, was proposed by Fran and seconded by John. And can I ask those people who will support that one, would like to vote now? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, thank you. And that looks like that would be the majority. So
I voted against it.
You voted against, sorry.
I voted against it because.
No, I know.
Because you went straight for a seconder on that one.
No.
And
That's not true, is it?
No.
So you seconded your.
no, it's just I'm desperately been trying for 30 years nearly to get a name done, and it's been done again.
Robin.
I'll probably be in the cemetery with 4 weeks.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Right, and I'm just very conscious that we are right towards the end of the meeting, so I.
Point of order, we want to finish that vote though.
Oh, do you
Chair.
want to have a vote?
Yeah, well, the people voted for it, we
business.
should record people saying or voting against.
We just did.
No.
No, we didn't, we recorded the votes for,
Yes.
you didn't answer the votes against and the votes abstaining.
Okay,
Right.
I did.
No, you didn't,
Yeah,
but
you
let's
did.
do it anyway.
You're not Robin's vote against, anybody else vote against it?
Didn't I?
Did anybody else vote against it? You'd all voted for it.
Okay, anybody voting against it?
Thank you.
And you've done that already.
And anyone abstention, abstaining? No.
Okay, are we happy with that? Right, I think we're all getting a bit tired now, it's getting towards bedtime and all this.
You tried.
I tried up there before.
Right, 10 is the chair's announcements for information only, and these are, sorry, I have none. And item 11 is the date of the next meeting, Monday, the 28th of September, 2026, which sounds like it might be a long time away. So before we get into any more chat, can I call an end to this meeting and Andy? The hammer was with that one. Can I thank you all very much indeed? It's been a very long.
Thank you very much.
Well done, a long.